So this morning's podcast is inspired by nothing more than a morning walk with my dogs, which is pretty much an experience in noise pollution. And part of that noise pollution is all the dogs. It seems like everyone owns a dog and no one pays attention to their dog. So you just hear all these depressing sounds of dogs barking and crying and absolutely no one paying them any attention whatsoever, whether it's the owners or the neighbors. And it is apparently a new accepted norm in society. I mean, it's always been that way to an extent. I feel like it's worse. Maybe it is worse, or maybe I'm just more aware of it. But anyway, that's what's going to start off my rant today. When you use human superiority as your justification for your behavior, especially regarding behavior toward other living creatures, that's just laziness. It doesn't mean anything. Human superiority in saying everything else is just A. When you use the phrase, it's just A, what you're saying is, as long as it's not a human, I can do this, or I can do that. And there's no logic behind it. There's no science behind it. There's no reasoning behind it other than you want to get away with doing it. And because you're a human, you can. And most other humans who also very much need to feel superior, that they have a purpose, or that in some way they were created with a different plan or vision in mind than all the other living creatures on the planet, will usually support you on that. It's just A. Compared to us, it's just A. Therefore, if you don't want to walk your dog, hey, it's just a dog. It doesn't need a walk. It's just a dog. It doesn't need to poop. It can hold it because it's a dog. Isn't it funny how you can give them a compliment in their physical superiority and what they're able to accomplish when you want to treat them badly also? They don't need to go relieve themselves because they're a dog, because of this amazing ability to hold their defecation. But as soon as that's, again, giving yourself an excuse to treat the animal poorly. And then when you want to treat it poorly in a different way, you get to say, it's just a dog. So you elevate the animal and you lower the animal, both according to how you want to treat the animal poorly. And then we take it to other species. It's a cow. Well, that baby cow doesn't need its mom. Why? Because it's just a cow. It doesn't make any sense. It's a brand new baby. The only thing that baby needs is its mother. And we took that away because we, as the, quote, superior species, decided that we could. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no logic behind it. But we decided that it was okay. For economic reasons, in this case. With bad dog ownership, it's laziness. And in case of dairy, it's an industry built on stealing babies from moms. And therefore, it's just a cow. There's a different tactic that we use as well. Let's say that I challenge somebody about exactly how good the treatment of that animal is. Well, they can quickly say, well, it's better than where it came from. Such as a dog kennel, or an abusive breeder, or in the case of livestock, an animal at a factory farm versus another type of farm. That's kind of cheating, isn't it? Because we're the species responsible for them coming from a terrible place originally, and now we're making ourselves the heroes for giving them anything that's even remotely better than the BS that we created in the first place. So, yeah, you can treat a dog pretty poorly. You can ignore it, neglect it, but it's better than it getting euthanized, right? Or living its life inside of a kennel, right? Well, maybe. Not always. I've seen some pretty darn bad dog owners, and there's no shortage of people out there that get animals for the sake of abusing them, taking out whatever problems they have in their own lives on something that cannot fight back. Anyway, I digress. You talk about quality of life, let's shoot over to cows, and you have the ones that actually get to walk around out on a pasture, and that means that anything else that they suffer in life is justified, because look how great they had it out on the open pasture. And in fact, if you think about it that way, those cows did have a better life than most dogs that I know that spend their entire lives in a tiny rectangular concrete backyard. And those are the animals we love. It's interesting. The animals that we raise to slaughter in some cases have better lives. And that's not to say that I think that those cows have a great life. I'm just saying we always find a way to justify our behavior by lowering other animals. You feed your dog, you shelter the dog, and therefore you're a good owner. Well, you just described the same thing that a convicted felon, a prisoner, is treated to as far as kindness goes. We give the same treatment to our convicted criminals. People who stand by this mindset get upset pretty quickly if you try to have a conversation about it, and it isn't an intelligent conversation. It's not a well-researched debate. It's usually, come on, man, come on. You're being ridiculous. Everybody knows. It's just known. Everybody knows. And, it doesn't go much further than that. It's just supposed to be accepted as common sense because it's what we've always known. And where did that information come from? Passed down from the previous generation. So not to rip on people's parents, but, to what extent can you really defend their knowledge about these animals that we subject to decisions that you would think that we were trained experts about each and every one of them? We aren't. They have their mindset about what's acceptable for treating that animal based on what the generation before them thought and what the generation before them thought. And while that is deeply instilled in you to where you will defend it and get upset if it's challenged, there's no actual knowledge there to back it up. A demonstrated insecurity, the desperation level to make sure not to give these other species credit, to keep them lower. It's like, if you admit that animal is intelligent, does that make you not intelligent? Does it detract from who you are? Are you no longer the person that you are? Have you no longer accomplished what you've accomplished if you also give that animal some credit? Why can't it be a planet full of intelligent species? Does that diminish who you are, what you are? Well, it might. It might in some people's minds, especially if you're hoping there's a place in heaven for you based solely on the fact that you were created in the image of the Creator, which leaves out everything else, doesn't it? I want to go back to dogs and cows specifically for a moment. Sorry, I know that's going to upset some people, comparing dogs and cows, but the two animals are very much in my life these days, and I can't help but think about how we justify taking babies from moms in dairy, but I don't feel like anyone realizes we do that with dogs as well. We do that with animals that we say are our best friend, that we love, and etc. And we've been taking them from their moms for so long that no one even thinks about it. We're not doing anything wrong. We're doing what is normal. That's just what happens with dogs, right? I laugh because it's so uncomfortable. Uh, breeders breed life. They use life to make a living. It's very, very disrespectful toward life when you use it as your source of income. You make a mom, a living creature, go through the experience of motherhood and produce life so that you can take that life and profit from it.
Sorry, hold on a second. I don't feel comfortable using the word motherhood, pregnancy. They go through the challenge of pregnancy, the difficulty of creating a body and carrying a body inside of them, and whatever bonding takes place by having that life inside of them, but not actually getting to experience motherhood. No, in fact, just the pain and disappointment of not getting to nurture, care for, lick, clean, raise that life that was just carried inside of her. Breeders do that to dogs. It's a little bit different. The reasons for it are different. The amount of time the mom has with the baby is a little bit different. But the baby's taken away. And you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. And the dairy industry does that, except that they are trying to milk a product from the mother, and then also sell baby flesh. The males become veal, and the females eventually become dairy cows as well. And, with dogs and dog breeding, you're not selling milk, but you are selling the offspring. And there's not much of a qualification system for who can take those babies. So you just keep mass producing them. It's normal for a baby dog to not have a mom or brothers and sisters, even though they are mammals like us. They are social animals. They are historically pack animals. You watch any nature channel and you see where they come from. They want to be with others. They desperately want to be with others. They interact with each other. They touch each other all the time. All the time. And we take all of that away because we think it's normal to now. Every dog is an individual. They all have their different personalities. So by no means do I want to say that my dog is like another dog. But my dog needs so much touch. And he, no matter how good I treat him, he always seems to have anxiety of being abandoned. And, you can say, geez, that's ridiculous. That's stupid. Or you can think, well, of course he does. Look how he started his life. Taken from his mom, put in a bin with his brothers and sisters. So no mom, no suckling, no bonding, no comfort of the mother's heartbeat or her warmth to lay against. And in some weird plastic bin surrounded by the noises of other stressed animals, all waiting their turns to either be adopted or euthanized. And eventually his brothers and sisters are pulled out of the bin, so he doesn't even have that anymore. I mean, holy fuck. This is a brand new animal trying to make sense of the world, and this is how we start its life. And we wonder why it has emotional issues or dependency upon whoever adopts it. I mean, some of you are making fun of me for being that sympathetic to the dog because it's just a dog. Some of you started to get a little emotional there because you thought about things you hadn't thought of before, and then you probably quickly built up a wall because, again, remember, I'm ridiculous. This is normal. It's the way it's always been, right? Taking babies from their moms and their siblings so that we can
sell them to people who can throw them in their backyards and forget about them. Welcome to the world.